What is up YouTube, it's your boy Alex here from Team Generations, and today we are back again with another video. Today, I am finally back on the channel doing some content. We are actually going to look at something that I've been having a ton of fun with in this current format, Masque Zorga. So first and foremost, I just want to briefly apologize for the little leave of absence that I've had. I have been busy getting married, going on my honeymoon, and moving into my new house, so a whole lot going on in my life makes it a little bit difficult to make some of the videos, but I think I am back more or less, so let's get into it. So for set 10 over here, my personal favorite deck in this current format, Zorga is like so much fun. It feels honestly like you're XZ summoning with like the Masque, just like kind of like a little bit of combo. There always feels like there's almost a way out to any situation with this deck, so I do actually really enjoy the playstyle and just the general feel of the deck. It definitely is like the deck I'm having most fun with in this current format out of all my testing so far. So without further ado, let's hop right into the deck profile and get started. And before we begin, I just wanted to quickly mention that if you are interested in purchasing any of the cards you see here today, we do have a TCG player affiliate link down in the description below. Absolutely no cost to you. You can help the channel by shopping through that link. Definitely appreciate it. I'll never ask you guys for money or subscription or anything like that, so that is definitely one way you could help support me. Thank you in advance. And if you are enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like on the video, possibly consider subscribing to the channel. But with all that good stuff out of the way, let's hop right into the ride line. And I'm doing something a little bit different overall, but obviously the grade 0, I'm just running in theme just because I have the SP. You can run whichever one you want. The grade 1 over here, Vanguard chain, obviously cycle, draw a little bit more, get some stuff in your drop, get your engine kind of going, get one of your order cards back with the grade 2, the Black Tears Husk. And this is actually good because the grade 1 and grade 2, I feel like I do revive these guys quite a bit almost, especially a little bit earlier on when I might not have 2 of the roaming prison dragons kind of. So these guys do actually come up, so I don't want to just like glance right by them for their little power gain, the 5k and the 2k over there. But I'm actually running red Zorga, and I do want to say blue Zorga is still, you know, it's absolutely fine. You can run that. I just feel like for my playstyle and a couple other things that have kind of popped up in my testing, I kind of prefer the red Zorga in a way, and let me explain why. So let's go over the skill first. Continues on Vanguard Circle. If you did Alchemagic this turn, all of your front row units get an additional 5k. And then second skill, act on Van once per turn. So last one, discard a card from your hand, choose a normal order from your drop, and put it into your hand. Till the end of turn when you would play a normal order, you can bind a normal order with a different card name in your drop and Alchemagic. So obviously the Masque one coming up, you could have the same name, but over here it does have to be a different name, and it allows you to Alchemagic. It's a little bit more locked than the blue one, and the blue one is just like a CB for a revive. It feels better in different ways, but this over here allows me to just combo a little bit more. I can get a, you know, just for a Soul Blast essentially, because you ditch the order, or ditch anything in your hand, ditch an roaming prison dragon. I feel like it just sets you up a little bit better overall. And the most important part, I wouldn't say most important, but a very important part also is that 5k. There's times where you're gonna whiff the Masque, whether you just can't find the Masque, you can't like basically just combo off, find it, whatever. This over here is very important because then it will still give you some power gain, and with something else in culmination, another order card, you still have like a decent turn overall, putting up big columns. You're still essentially putting a lot of crit pressure on, so I feel like red kind of comes through in a different way than blue. And personally, again, just my play style, the way I've been like kind of piloting the deck, I find that this actually does work a little bit better for me. So I like the red. You can definitely use the blue if you want, but let's hop into the main deck. So for this one, I'm actually going to start off with the order cards, and obviously for the first one over here, just a little bit easier to read, I'm going to put that one on top over here. But the Masques, we are going to start off with the Masque. Obviously this is like the main function of the deck. This really enables you to go second and still like absolutely, it almost feels like the ideal play to go second in this deck, because you are putting on a little bit more pressure early. You are also getting possibly into this, doing your Persona ride a little bit early. It just feels really good overall. But this guy's skill, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 card with Dragon Tree or Masques in its card name from among it. Reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. So that also can count for a, I believe, a grade 1, grade 2 in here too, but obviously the Zorga Masque is the main target. And then second over here, act and drop. If you have a grade 3 Vanguard without Masques in its card name, reveal a grade 3 card with Masque in your from your hand, and then ride it. Roll the revealed card for this cost as stand, and if you rode, put this card into your soul, and your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3. You did not Persona Ride this turn, activate Persona Ride. So just really quick, you can activate the first one as part of Alchemagic. You don't have to, this doesn't technically count as like playing in order the second part. So you can go through your whole Alchemagic, you can wait until you're on Masque Zorga. So long as this is in the drop, you can activate that act and still go ahead and activate another order, and then Alchemagic from there on out. Only the first part is the true like order part of the card. This is great too for red Zorga because you can really recycle this a lot too with that Soul Blast. I know you're only kind of going into it once, but it kind of refunds its own cost in a way, so it does feel pretty good. Puts another kind of like order into your drop then to kind of combo and start off. I just feel like it works really, really well overall, and obviously the Masque is 100% necessary. Also good for deck thinning too towards the end of the game, you'll see. Over here, next up, something that I feel like we're almost touching on with the Masque, but the Persona Ride aspect. You need to Persona Ride in this deck, and having just an extra copy in this Regalius piece kind of just makes it so impactful. There's times where I need to, play an order, and I don't need to, I really don't have resources or anything to kind of start it off with. This is like a costless one, and I know it's only a one of. You can only play it once, so you can't really recycle this overall. You can only activate this once per game, but I feel like that once per game is definitely still enough just to have it in the deck and still be a part of our list. So the Persona Ride from this Regalius Gradal is so good. Next up over here, I am choosing to run 2 copies of this for 2 reasons overall. So this is Clouded Miasma, so it plays with CB1. Choose a grade 3 or less from your drop, call it to Rearguard Circle, and if it's part of Alchemagic, choose one of your Vanguards, gets in owner front row units, get 5k until the end of turn. Putting bodies on board is always good, especially something supporting our roaming prison dragons in the front row is definitely nice. The 5k is impactful. So again, with the red Zorga, if you can't pull the Masque off, at least you have an extra 10k to the front row on top of the 10k that the roaming prison dragon already gets, swinging for maybe a little bit more if they're boosted by a grade 1. And then potentially, I know obviously if you're on red, it won't count, but like if you have the Dragon Tree marker, you're just adding power on there overall. And I feel like this is just super impactful, even with the regular Masque. I feel like this is the one card you need at 2 of. I don't think I have too many others at 2 of in my lineup over here, but this is super impactful. Allows you to just kind of go into it multiple times and stack up the power, because in a game where there's only 5k kind of shields on grade 1s, this is very impactful overall. Next up to the triple drive order. This is going to be Gather Upon Me, You Wandering Souls. Play this with discard an order card from your hand. Choose one of your Vanguards, gets +1 drive to the end of turn. So I know it is kind of almost like a neg from your hand, but at the same time, there are ways to get orders back in. Obviously, there are other ways to kind of just get kickstarting with your Alchemagic, putting orders in the drop for next turn, kind of having that. And I like to cycle this one. I like to get the order card back to my hand and use this like twice per game, just off of 1 copy. So I think that's really the correct way to use it. And having this is really the combo right here. I love using these 2 together, the 5k, excuse me, plus the extra drive. Just makes it really tough, especially with the numbers you put up in this deck right now. Absolutely crazy. So next over here too, you can use the new art one. I have so many of them, been meaning to swap them in, but Cheerful Malice, just in case you do need to get that off over there, you need to get some units off the board, whatever the case is, just put them into the drop. Really good to do so. This is play this with retired 2 Rearguards, draw a card and this card into Soul, and then counter charge 1. So you can really start off and get yourself that counter blast if you really need it. You can play through with like no counter blast too. Like it's very easy in this deck to do so. Honestly, I would run 2 copies of this, but I'm running something else right now just because I don't have a second copy. In the Dim Darkness, the Frozen Resentment. Place the Soul Blast 1. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Choose the 1 card from among them. Discard it and shuffle your deck. Choose a card from your drop with grade equal than, or less than, or equal to my Vanguard. Sorry, and call it to Rearguard Circle. So just really good to kind of cycle through your deck. Look for something specific. Kind of put it into the drop and just call something else out. Like this sets you up plus replenishes your board. Everything you want. I am running a second copy. This would have been my second copy, but Spiritual Body Condensation, Soul Blast 1, choose a card. Grade equal to or less than your Vanguard from drop, call it to rear, gets 5k. The 5k does matter. I feel like sometimes I do kind of like that a little bit more, but overall, I think the other one is a little bit better. If you can't afford it, not that I can't afford it, it's just like I don't feel like spending $20 on like a silly order card. And then lastly, over here, speaking of $20 silly order cards, Elementary Sanctitude. Clearly need this in the deck. There's a ton of things running around with triple drive right now. We have the what do they call them? The deck sets, obviously. Chronojet, Messiah's running around. Tons of things really do have that triple drive. I think too, once we see the promo come out for some of the grade 4 decks, this will become even more relevant overall. So yeah, that is the orders. Let's hop into the main deck itself. Now, aside from that, like the main units, I mean, hopping into it, just for the new Zorga, no surprise here, absolutely need it. Card is bonkers, so good. Continuous, this card can only be ridden from a grade 3 Zorga in its card name, and then when you would play a normal order, you can bind a normal order from your drop in Alchemagic. So again, doesn't have to be a different name, so you can do like a double of the +5 kind of revive one. I forgot the name of it, Clouded Miasma. So that is definitely a choice you can make if you so choose. But again, I don't really have too many doubles in there, so it doesn't really come up too often. Also, the fact that you can ride doesn't mean you can Persona Ride. So this doesn't count as the regular Zorga. So you can manually ride next turn if you have to, but it doesn't count as a Persona Ride. I've seen some people make that mistake. That's just a heads up there. And then if you did Alchemagic this turn, all of our front row units get 10k. So if you Persona Rode plus the Alchemagic, plus 20k to your front row, on top of the 5k that you could be getting from that other order, just various other things kind of buffing your units up. Like you're swinging very big numbers like right off the bat. especially if you're going second and if your opponent gives you the opportunity to kind of go into it. Some people have actually denied me the going second play with the Masque. Like, it's just absolutely nuts that people fear this deck kind of that much. That is pretty big overall. And then act on Vanguard Circle once per turn, remove a card with Zorga and its different card name from your from this unit from your hand, soul, or drop. And then choose a card from your drop, call it to Rearguard Circle if it's a unit card, put it into your hand if it's not, and put it into your hand if it's an order card. Sorry, just totally messed that up over here, but basically you do that one Zorga, and then you choose a card from your drop, call it to rear, put it into your hand if it's an order. Just really kind of gets everything going, really starts to stoke your plays, make it a little bit easier, kind of just really extending your plays and really starting them up. So honestly, a turn where you do like the full red Zorga plus that, it just feels so impactful and so good. I know I've been talking about it the entire time, and I know some people have cut this down, but Roaming Prison Dragon, we all kind of know what this does at this point. If you don't, I'll let you read it right there, but just super impactful, getting that extra crit. This really takes it from like being a deck that needs multi-attack to a deck that just needs the powerful columns. You know, you'll whittle your opponent down, you'll kind of like gain resources, and that's why I think the triple drive order is so important. It kind of helps you get to the late game and kind of like allows these guys just the opportunity to keep coming back. I will say I'm running 4 just because I know Messiah is running around, and it's not super prevalent at my locals, but if they do get removed, I'm not running the token package to kind of get rid of them. It is kind of annoying. I think Gandiva is just so prevalent and it kind of works well with this. Go ahead, retire these. I'm just going to get them back next turn. It makes no difference to me. So 4 of these absolutely necessary in my opinion. Next up here too, I know some people have cut this down and I'm surprised. Shadow Cloak to me is just still so necessary. It's just place down, get an order from your deck. Like, this is your whole combo starter. Like, this is the one card you need to really get going. This helps you early on, this helps you later in the game, this helps you at almost all points of the game, and I don't see a reason not to run it at 4 of, in my opinion. I think it is so good. So 4 of the Shadow Cloak, 100% necessary in my opinion. There is that's a non-negotiable in my head. Next up here too, the Dragon Tree Wretch. This is Depth Dwelleth. I can't even read that right there. What does that say? Dwelleth, I guess that's how it goes. But since this is a new guy, I will kind of read its skill. It's not like ancient anymore. When this unit is placed on Rearguard Circle, Counterblast, Soul Blast 1. Choose one of your rearguards without any Dragon Tree markers, put a Dragon Tree marker on it, search your deck for up to 1 Masque, Hydrangea, whatever it's called, and then reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck. So this kind of, again, helps you with the combo starter. I feel like this whole deck is just full of things that kind of like get the ball rolling, and once you do, you kind of get on a roll. This could help extend the play, and then the Dragon Tree marker, if you have a unit with Masque, or if you have a Vanguard with Dragon Tree or Masque in their card name, yeah, this gets an extra 5k, whatever's on there, and that's super important for your Roaming Prison Dragons because they're only 5k bases. I know they could buff up to, you know, it's like 15, you know, an extra 20k, let's say, if you successfully get the Masque Persona right off, so 35, but making him 40k plus, you know, any boosters, any other additional effects, really just makes it so impactful. So I really do like making those, and again, you're not using a ton of resources in this deck. Once in a while, use a Soul Blast. There's a couple things that do refund it. I feel like using 1, maybe 2, generating 2 markers per game is pretty essential, and this guy, beyond that, really just helps you extend. Next up here too, the Fabled Multi-Attack for Zorga. So I will say I was running this at a higher count originally, and I think it's a bit of a trap. There's times where you can't really find the Dragon Tree units. There's times where like it just really won't come up. You feel like you're forcing the play. I feel like this is almost a bait in a lot of different ways. So Keel Severing over here, auto and drop. When this guy, when your Zorga masks on your Vanguard Circle attacks, if you do not have a unit with this name on your Rearguard Circle, Counterblast 1, retire Rearguard, call this card to Rearguard with a Dragon Tree marker. So, in my opinion, everyone was like, oh, this is the 4th attack Zorga's been waiting for it. No, this is a win more card. I run it at 1. I was trying it at 3, trying it at 2. Honestly, like I said, I just felt it was forced at times. I feel like this is a really potent like 4th attack if you do get it off. But overall, like, I just don't think it's like 100% necessary. You win through like pressure, you win through the long game in that you're just like accumulating resources, getting off that triple drive order twice per game, stacking your hand and whatnot. So this is definitely a little bit more of a win more. This is situations where you won't really be able to use it. Like, there's so much going on in this deck. It's actually like very complicated. I don't want to say it's like the hardest thing to pilot right now in the format, but maybe it's like around there. So just having to stumble on that card sometimes, like, it feels really bad. But over here, another card that does make a Dragon Tree marker. And again, I'm going to go over something that I'll go over it afterwards, kind of what my whole idea with this card is. But Dragon Tree Wretch, and this is Bist Alveria, something like that. I don't know. Auto when this guy is placed on rearguard circle, counterblast 1. Choose your rearguard without any dragon tree marker and put a dragon tree marker on it. Act on rearguard circle once per turn. If your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, counterblast soul blast 1. Choose a normal order, from your drop, put it into your hand. So again, extending, getting your marker there. It's a little bit costly overall, but if you get off 1 per game, I feel like that's fine. Sometimes like you absolutely need to get that order into your hand too. Can really help with that. Help you kind of like get that order progression off right. And this can help too. Again, we only run one of the triple drop orders, so this really helps us kind of recycle that as well, just giving us various different options. So I know these cards have become a little bit more expensive, but overall, I think they are pretty necessary. If you don't want to run this, if you don't want to focus as much on the Dragon Tree package, that's fine. You could run the grade 1, I forgot the name of it, but it was the one that was previously run that helps you reduce your counterblast cost. I don't think that's such a bad card at all. It kind of helps your column numbers a little bit more than that one overall. So yeah, I still think that's the better option. But if you're running Blue Zorga, I could see the idea of why you would run that other grade 1. Next up here too, lastly in the main deck for the main units, 3 of the perfect guards, just, nothing crazy, just need it. Perfect guards are good. And we also run one of the Elementaria Sanctitude, obviously. So we can't run 4. And let's just pan out and get into the triggers now. All right, getting into the triggers, obviously, no surprise here. We are running one of the over trigger, just the Stoicheia in theme 1. I think when the festival collection comes out, you do switch to the red one, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but right now, just that is what it is. We are doing that. I'm just testing out draws, seeing if I kind of like it. I actually feel like I do in some situations. But the nice part about this deck is you don't need to run max crit because we have so much inherent crit pressure from our RPDs overall. So Roman Cruising Dragon is just so good. And then with that being said, typically you always swing with your Vanguard first. If not, you're doing that multi-attack and you will always benefit off of this. We win through sheer numbers. I feel like in this deck, I know crits are like super good in this format. I know it. But at the same time, like I said, like you win through your just pressure overall, through your RPDs, through your multi-attack. So I feel like this front is just super impactful overall. There's times too where like I do typically, I won't say I rush my opponent. There's some games where I do want to put a little pressure on early, and then you hit this front. It just feels so good, and I feel like the 20k shield is really necessary to get us to the late game overall, as opposed to the 15k on the crits. But overall, I am running then what is that, 6 crits here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, 6 crits. Just had to be sure. Only one of them being the Intersoul one. I probably would run a couple more, but honestly, I like the 5k bodies. Sometimes when I know I'm going for my kill turn, I just commit to board and like just go for it. Like I know I'm not going to live the next time around, and the 5k makes more of a difference than the 4k. It does matter with the soul. Like we do go through soul a little bit in this deck. You saw we have a couple different things that do pop it off, but overall, I feel like it's nothing too crazy that couldn't be solved. So I think one of them or a couple of them is fine. Don't go too crazy if you can't get those. And then lastly, I probably would switch these into the crit ones. I just feel like early I want to mitigate damage, and I feel like when I was testing it out, I was testing the one that gives you an extra 10k shield or whatever when your opponent has an original 2 crit. That's great for Gandiva right now. Obviously, it's great for Messiah, Chronojet. Do they have not getting as much out of the early game as with these, but honestly, I go for like a 2-2 split right now. I just have the 4 vanillas in there. If you want to run vanillas, don't want to pay for the other ones, that's completely fine too. I feel like right now with Gandiva, with Messiah, things like that, like it definitely does pay off to have a couple of them, at least one in the deck overall. So yeah, that is the deck profile. Let me know your guys' comments down below. Let me know if you would change anything, what's been working for you. I know there is like 1 or 2 orders that I've been meaning to kind of test out, but again, time's a little bit limited. I've gotten, I almost went undefeated last week with this. I played this multiple games, and this is really feeling really good. I feel like this is the deck, the more you put into it, the more you get out. The ceiling is very high on this, and it's just such a good deck overall. Super fun, a really engaging play style that I haven't seen too much before. So thank you again. If you guys are enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like on the video, possibly consider subscribing to the channel. Again, this is Alex from Team Generation signing out.